So first, let's start off by saying I absolutely think my house was worth it. It's worth it for the peace of mind, it's worth it for the freedom and accessibility. We have to do things like raise our own animals and get tons of dogs and have a garden and paint the house any way we want, or sell it out from under us, or make the decisions that sometimes landlords do that makes you out on the street without your knowledge. So safety and stability is 100% worth it when you're thinking about buying a house and investing the money. However, there are a few things I wish that we had known before we bought the house, just so we could plan ahead a little bit more. So before I get into them, I want to thank my viewers. I got a couple presents in the mail. So 2 of our viewers DM'd me for my address, and one person sent me this cute emoji. She did not want to send out her name, but the emoji is adorable and I appreciate it. And then this is a unicorn that says tacos on it. That is the most adorable thing ever, and that is from one of my viewers named Rachel, and she sent this last month. So I don't have a P.O. box, so I don't get a lot of things in the mail, so that was so appreciated and I love them so much. So let's talk about number 1, things I wish I had known. Everything breaks. You get so used to, when you're in an apartment, realizing that you can just call the landlord every time something breaks. The dishwasher overflows, call the landlord. The electricity is not working, call the landlord. The plumbing is flooded, call the landlord. Well, when you own your own house, you are the landlord. And when you own a house, even if it's rather new, a lot of things happen. So our house was only 12 years old and only had one very conscientious owner before we purchased it. However, things go wrong all the time. In the 6 years that we've owned the house, the dishwasher and the refrigerator went out, and they were dishwasher and refrigerator that we got when we purchased the house. We negotiated in the contract to get their appliances. So I know that's not really something you usually get with a house, but it was something that we had to think about replacing. So we replaced both the dishwasher, the refrigerator. We did replace the stove on our own just because it was very old. Now those are things that you may have to get anyways when you buy a house. However, things that have gone out that should have not gone out yet, our air conditioning has gone out twice. And I will talk about that in another video, but we did purchase home warranty insurance, which means that $3,000 was paid to the home warranty insurance, or by the home warranty insurance, to the air conditioning company to fix it. So twice we've had $3,000 worth of breakage in the air conditioner, and if we had not had that home warranty, we would have been out of pocket for it. And believe me, we do not live in a place where you can go without an air conditioner. Other things that have broken: the electricity in the bathroom went out, the garbage disposal's gone out twice. My husband had to fix multiple wiring issues within the house, just because even though it wasn't old wiring, things happen, especially when you live up in the mountains and you have critters in the walls or the ceilings sometimes that may chew on your wires. So I just wish we had put away a little bit more and thought about that before we purchased the house, so we'd have more of a safety net. Now hang in that there's only 6. If you're liking this so far, go ahead and click on the subscribe button or the like button down below. And if you do own a house, please let us know what's gone out in your house so far. So number 2 on the list is property taxes. I absolutely knew that I would need to pay property taxes probably for the rest of my life when purchasing a house. I did not know, however, that they would increase so drastically year after year without warning. So I figured they would go out a little bit for inflation, up a little bit for inflation. However, I did not figure on them being doubled. So the first 5 years that we were here, the property taxes were kind of similar each month. However, due to the state of the world right now and whatever's passed wherever, I don't know why, but the property taxes doubled in my county. So we ended up paying double the property taxes with absolutely no warning. We did not get any sort of warning that they would be twice as much as they usually are. Now, we do have our property taxes wrapped into our loan for our home, which means the mortgage company pays them, we pay them back out of our escrow, but that does mean that our escrow was short this year and we had to pay an additional $500 a month, or we have to pay an additional $500 a month in our mortgage just to cover the increase in property taxes. So again, another thing I wish I had planned for in a financial safety net, and at least now I know for the rest of my life that property taxes can be pretty much anything that the county decides. Number 3, things wear out. Not just breaking, but the floors wear out, the carpets wear out, the paint wears out. Just general day-to-day things wear out, and it's not like you're switching apartments. We plan on being here forever, which means that every time something needs to get painted or replaced or a carpet redone, we have to pay for that. So I did realize that when I first bought the house, but I didn't realize how fast things wear out, because in the past we had switched apartments quite frequently, and when you move into a new apartment, everything's new and fresh. So now we have to realize that every 2 years, everything won't be new and fresh anymore unless we do the work ourselves or pay somebody to do it. Number 4 is unexpected bills I just didn't think about. One of the bills is landscaping, so we don't really pay a lot of people to landscape our yard. We do it ourselves. We live in the mountains. We have 3 acres. However, because of fire protection, we are required to have 100 feet around the house mowed at all times, which means if we're not up to it, or we're sick, or we're not feeling it, we have to go ahead and hire somebody to come out and cut the weeds and the brush and all the stuff you get in the mountains back. And just for extra safety and protection, we do it farther than 100 feet. So there are costs like that a land owner has to pay that a landlord would pay in the past. Other things we did not think about was EcoStrike. So EcoStrike is our local bug person. I've never even thought about bugs because obviously in apartments they spray for those all the time. Well, we live in the mountains and we have animals that are susceptible to things like diseases, and you can't let spiders and anything else that may come in from the outdoors. Scorpions are big out here. Tarantulas come into your house and bite your animals, especially scorpions. So we do have to pay every 2 months for EcoStrike to come out here and spray some organic, pet safe stuff around our house to make sure that we don't get bugs. And there's a few other bills like that too. You just don't think about that a landlord usually pays when you live in an apartment. Number 5, the amount of our monthly mortgage was way more than we thought it would be. Although we did, of course, agree to that before we signed the contract, it was a shocker when we were actually looking for a house. So when you do those little things on Zillow that says, hey, this house for $200,000 is going to be so much a month, it's completely wrong. It has nothing to do with what you're actually going to pay in monthly mortgage after things are added in, like property tax and insurance and fees and origination fees, and all that stuff is tacked on there. So I would literally take that number that you see on Zillow and double it just to get an idea of what you're actually going to pay. And also brokers and real estate agents, they are trying to sell you a house. I don't care who they are, don't trust them. They're not going to give you a good, accurate expectation. Just tack on like several $100s that you think you might pay, and then you won't be shocked. And if you don't pay that, you'll be pleasantly surprised. So it's just not right what the calculators say online that you're going to have to pay, because there's a whole bunch of other things they tack on there, like those property taxes, and those things can go up. So don't even expect those to be the same every year. Number 6, when I actually purchased the house, the down payment and fees and everything, closing costs, were a lot more than we were told by the real estate agent, we were told by the broker, we were told in the beginning, and by the time that we had gotten 30 days into escrow and they were calling us like saying, okay, you need to pay $3,000 more for this and $6,000 more for that, and $600 for this inspection and another $500 for this inspection for septic. It's a lot more when you live in the mountains because there's more things to inspect. But just don't expect the down payment and the origination fees and all those things to be what they initially quote you in the beginning. So things change as well, like when they start looking into your finances. So they will quote you one thing. Once they start looking into your finances and running your credit and things like that, they will come back and ask for more money. So definitely, unless you have 800 credit and you're a real estate agent and know what you're talking about, just expect whatever they quote you in the beginning to be way more towards the end. And we did have somebody look over it and make sure that everything they were doing was legal, that it was just way more than we expected. So if you have $26,000 to put down, for example, don't go into it when they tell you up front that it's just going to be $26,000 out the door, expecting that to be out the door cost. They will come up with lots of things that you owe another couple $1,000s for, and by then you are in it. So you want to come up with that money. So definitely expect the down payment and the mortgage to be more when you actually get out of the whole thing than when it was originally quoted. So those are some things that I did not expect when I purchased a house, and if you're living frugally, you may want to be completely aware of before you make the decision to purchase a house. It's just going to be a lot more in cost upfront and then ongoing than you think it's going to be. I personally think it's worth it, but you have to make that decision for yourself. So if you're living frugally, you just need to decide whether you have a lot of extra money to put into certain things, or maybe you want to choose a lower priced house, or a smaller area house, so there's less things to go wrong and less property taxes, etc. So if you have any questions about my experience in purchasing a house, or if you're a real estate agent or an expert or have your own opinions, of course, your scenario, what happened to you when you purchased a house, or your scenario if you're selling houses might be different. This is California. Also, it was one specific real estate agent in one specific town. But just be aware that there are things that can be much different and unexpected when you're doing such a huge life change and purchase. So if you like this video and you want to see more like it, or if you have any topics to suggest, please go ahead and post that comment down below. And always, I'd like to say it again, if nobody has told you how very, very, very special you are so special to me. I'm so happy to have you as part of the Frugal Life family. Please go down below and join our Facebook group of over 50,000 members. We are there for you at all times, whatever your question.